Sylvia is such a beautiful film, and I think the casting of Gwyneth Paltrow as Plath was just so spot on. I can't think of anybody else who could have played her so well. Obviously, Sylvia, the 2003 film, is a biopic about Sylvia Plath and her relationship with Ted Hughes, played by Daniel Craig, which is great casting as well. Directed by Christine Jeff, screenplay by John Brownlow. Now, my interest in Sylvia Plath is, I'd say, fairly average. I've read some of her poems. I've read The Bell Jar, absolutely loved it. I actually lived 10 minutes away from where she killed herself, so that's, bittersweet, I guess. And before watching this, I read quite an in-depth biography, and I can't remember the name of it, but if you do want to know which biography I read and who wrote it, let me know, because I definitely recommend it. And then I thought, well, I want to watch this film, and it really highlights a lot of the key moments in her life. It includes certain elements of the Bell Jar that were biographical, because there are parts of the Bell Jar that did actually happen to Plath, and this film kind of incorporates those. So even if you've only read The Bell Jar, they're all things that you'll recognise. And I think it's a lovely way of looking at Plath's earlier life. Quite quickly, it doesn't take us through from birth till death, step by step, of course. But we have enough time to get to know her as a person and get to understand who Plath is as a very complex character. And then her initial encounters with Ted Hughes, and how that relationship pans out. And then, obviously, how it concludes. I've kind of already said what happens to Plath, but I won't go into the very specifics. Although there is an image of that online, which just breaks my heart. It's brilliant. If you are new to Sylvia Plath and you've never read any of her work, you'd still find this interesting as a narrative, but I don't think you'd get as much out of it, because I think it's important to read Plath's work and absorb her words and consume her emotions and feel really who she was through her own words, and then watch this film, and I think you'll get a lot more out of it. But if you've got no interest in reading her work, then that's fine. I think you'd still enjoy the film. I just think you'd get more out of it. And her poems are good. My favourite one is called The Edge. And fun fact, my latest novel was going to be titled with a quote from The Edge, but unfortunately the Plath estate is not currently granting any permission for quotes of any of her work, which is very annoying. But personally, The Bell Jar is my favourite. I love The Bell Jar and completely recommend it. If you've read The Bell Jar but don't know anything about Plath as a person, I think you'd still relate to aspects of this, because they're all very much one and the same. Gwyneth Paltrow is amazing as Sylvia Plath, and Daniel Craig is great. It's got a great supporting cast. Michael Gambon's in it. Really is a beautiful, brilliant film. Surprisingly, it's only won one award, which I think is a bit weird, because to me it's, Oscar quality. It won the Australian Cinematographers Society Award for Features Award of Distinction. I don't know. It's not an accolade I've heard of, but nevertheless, beautiful, beautiful film. Sylvia Plath is such an interesting, fascinating, heartbreaking character, beautiful writer. And I think this film, from my perspective, from my views of Plath, I think it portrays her and her relationship with Ted Hughes in a very beautiful way.